These are the top 3 best ways to increase your credit score. It's the number one question I get all the time. Mike, what's the fastest way to increase my credit score? And I always tell people, listen, I'm not Jesus, okay? But I do have a lot of crazy tips because I have worked with thousands of clients when I have my credit repair company. So I do, in fact, know the top 3 best ways to increase your credit score. Now, I did say there are going to be 3 top ways that you can increase your credit score. There is going to be a bonus that you want to make sure that you watch this till the end because it's closer to the end. And it's going to be a tricky one that you don't want to miss because some people can make it happen and other people cannot, but you don't want to miss it. Before we get into this list, I want to break down every single part of your credit profile that we're going to affect because remember, there are only 5 categories that impact your credit score. The reason why it's very important for me to explain this to you because I want you to get a full grasp of what actually calculates your credit score and how to control it, how to manipulate it, because you do in fact control your credit score. This is the biggest mistake that people think is they think, the credit bureaus hate me, my credit card company hates me. No, you're just not doing anything right. So I want to explain in full detail what categories we're going to target. Now there are only 5, remember, 5 categories that make up your credit score. Now we have payment history, credit utilization, otherwise known as balances on your credit cards, credit age, credit mix and inquiries, or otherwise known as new credit. Today, we are going to target payment history and credit utilization, otherwise known as balances from your credit cards. We want to target those 2 categories because those are high impact. Payment history makes up 35% of your credit score, which is super impactful. Credit utilization makes up 30% of your credit score, which is also super high impact. Combining those 2 right there, you're going to impact 65% of your credit profile, which is 65% of your actual credit score. Now, number 3 is going to target specifically payment history. That's 35% of our credit score. We want to build up as much positive payment history as we possibly can. So coming in at number 3 is building with an installment loan on your credit profile. Now, not only does an installment loan target payment history, but it also helps your credit mix. Now, credit mix is only 10% of your credit score, but here's the best part about an installment loan. When a bank sees that there's an installment loan on your credit profile, it can help you when you're going to purchase a car or anything that has something super long term because it tells the bank or the lender that you pay on time, making sure that any installment loan that you add to your credit profile is hitting every single on-time payment history that it possibly can, making sure it never gets a late payment. Now, there are 2 different types of installment programs that you can use to build up your credit profile to help you raise that credit score and get more positive payment history. Now, remember, the longer the term, the better. So never do like a 6-month or a 12-month. Do a minimum of a 24-month installment loan so that way you're building up all of that positive payment history. A great example, I've been working with KOVO for over 2 years now. KOVO is an installment loan builder for people that are on a tighter budget. You can literally build up your credit profile with installment payments with KOVO. It's only like $10 a month, and it's gonna give you a bunch of other bonuses on top of helping you build your credit profile. It only lasts for 24 months. Now, KOVO is great because it's going to report to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, but it's also going to report to Innovis. Innovis is a major player in the game now for credit reporting, and it is actually growing, and a lot of lenders are starting to use it. So that's why it's actually one of the credit reporting agencies that it reports to. Now, not only are they going to report and help you build credit, but you're also going to be able to see your FICO scores, which you know I'm a huge proponent for seeing your FICO scores. You're also going to get identity theft monitoring for data breaches, which is huge right now. We need to make a whole other separate video about data breaches because that's a serious topic right now that nobody's talking about. But on top of that, it's very important to understand something about installment loans. Whenever you're trying to purchase anything long-term, remember, you can impact your credit profile and make you more presentable to a car lender when you have installment loans on your credit profile. A lot of times people get declined for car loans because they don't have any installment loans. They may have a bunch of credit cards and that's it. And then the lender's like, nah, sorry, man, like, we'll get you approved, but like, interest rate's going to be absolutely astronomical, and you don't want that. That's why having installment loans on your credit profile is super important. But not only with KOVO, you want to do it with an actual bank also. This is exactly why I talk about the Navy Federal Pledge Loan hack, because it's super important. It will help you build that credit profile up, and then guess what? If you're with a credit union, it's going to help your relationship even more with that credit union, establishing it and getting you to those high limit credit cards. But having the installment loan on your credit profile is super impactful. Now, it's very important to understand, it doesn't matter the amount. If you're someone that's like, yo, I don't have a lot of money, it's not a big deal. Unless you have thousands of dollars just sitting in a bank account, which there are people that are out there like that, but I'm just saying, it's not necessary to say, hey, do I need like 2,000? No, you really truly don't. We want that positive payment history. The amount doesn't matter. The amount only matters sometimes to some banks when they actually see that amount on your credit reports. That's about it. But it doesn't have an impact on your credit score. Remember, your credit score is what we're trying to raise right now. So if you add 10,000 or 5,000 to an installment loan, guess what? It really doesn't affect your credit score. What's affecting it is the new account with a bank, and then once those positive payments start to hit, that's what's building up your credit score. Make sure that you change your bell notification from mute to notified so you never miss any of our new content that we drop or when I go live, because you just never know when I'm gonna pop up and bring you some more valuable information for free. Now, moving on to number two. Number two is a huge one. A lot of people ask me about this all the time. This is one of the best and fastest ways to increase your credit score, is going to be adding you on as an authorized user to a credit card. As an example, like all of these credit cards, these are my backup credit cards. These are my everyday use ones. When someone is added on to any of these credit cards, from the moment it's been opened, it's going to be high impact for your credit profile. Now, your bad credit, if you have bad credit, doesn't transfer over to their credit profile. No, it doesn't work like that. You're only becoming an authorized user, and it's going to show all of the positive payment history from the moment it opened all the way to the current date. So remember what we're talking about here, positive payment history makes up 35% of your credit score. So you add that instantaneously to your credit profile, and it's like putting your credit score on steroids. And then if that credit card has a huge limit on it that's not carrying a balance, because remember, the credit card cannot be carrying a balance, because if they're carrying a balance, guess what? You're carrying a balance, and you don't want that because it's high impact. So let's say, for instance, if it has a $5,000 or $10,000 credit limit, that is high impact to your credit profile, because your credit profile has never seen a $5,000 or $10,000 limit. Anything that's added to your credit profile that's above 5,000 is really good impact. 10,000 and above is super high impact, because you're raising your overall available credit, which is what creates your utilization, which is another 30% of your credit score. So we're attacking payment history and utilization when we add an authorized user account to our credit reports. If you have any close friends, family members that you're really close to and they trust you, you could just ask them, hey, listen, I'm trying to work on getting approved for so-and-so. If you could add me on as an authorized user, don't give me a credit card, I don't need it. It would really tremendously help my credit profile. But they cannot have any late payments on that credit card, and they cannot have any balances, because we want 100% of everything that's on it. And remember, if it's more than 5 years old, even better. If it's 2 years, that'll still have some type of impact, because that's 24 months of on-time payment history. But anything above 5 years or 10 years, man, your credit score is gonna look crazy. But be aware, once you're removed as an authorized user from that credit card, it's gonna get all snatched away from your credit profile. Your credit score is gonna drop. You're like, oh my God, what do I do? This is a part of the game. It's only a temporary fix, and you have to understand that. So this is why I tell people all the time, like, to me, it's not worth it to pay someone to add a trade line to your credit profile, because you're gonna have to pay for either 30, 60, or 90 days worth of reporting. How many times are you going to have to refresh that and keep paying for it? Like, unless you're just someone that has a lot of money, you don't care about burning up money, it's honestly not worth it. And you have to understand that sometimes it does not report properly, because your address has to match the address that is on that credit card holder's credit profile also. It's what we call an address merge. So if you're doing an authorized user, sometimes you have to add that person's address to your credit profile also. I want to give a special shout out to all my beasters out there that are working hard to fix their credit using Dispute Beast, the most advanced AI credit repair software ever created. And specifically to Wesley, Wesley's credit score went up over 226 points after just 2 rounds with Dispute Beast. And also Marcus's credit score went up 337 points after just 2 rounds with Dispute Beast. And let's not forget Richard's credit score went up 446 points after just 1 round with Dispute Beast. Dispute Beast is going to be pinned at the very top of the comments and in the video description for anybody that needs to fix their credit. Last part's the most important. In order to make this super successful, you need to add that person's address onto your credit profile that is attached to their credit card. So what you do is you just go to Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, go into your free account, and then change your address to that address while you're going to have them add the trade line. Then once it's added to your credit profile, then you can switch back to your regular address. And please be super, super careful whoever you're going to do this with, that they're a trustworthy person. And if you're gonna pay a company to report trade lines for you, that they're actually legit, because there are a bunch of scammers out there. I'm not saying that all the people that sell trade lines are scammers, but there's a lot out there, unfortunately. And also be aware, if you have a bunch of negative items on your credit report, like charge-offs, collections, this will not have the same impact as it would to someone like me that has no negative items. If you add a bunch of aged trade lines to my credit profile, it's gonna push me all the way up to an 850 to a perfect credit score. But when you do it with someone that has collections or charge-offs, those collections and charge-offs act like a ball and chain and will cause your score to not go to its full potential. So I want you to be aware of that, because a lot of people out there do credit repair, they're out there selling like, oh yeah, let's get you some trade lines, but they're not telling you this is a temporary fix, and you still got a bunch of negative items, so it's still going to have a negative impact on your credit profile. You'll see some type of increase, yes. It will raise your credit score, but not as much as it normally would if you didn't have any negative items in your credit profile. I want to be 100% transparent so you don't get duped by anybody out there. Now, moving on to the bonus. We have a bonus here. Now, the biggest one that can raise your credit score is adding a new credit card to your credit profile that is above $5,000. Now, if you can add something to your credit profile that's above $10,000 to yours, and I'm not talking about an authorized user, what we just talked about, I'm talking about your credit card. This is why it's super high impact that you build a relationship with a credit union and then go after high limit credit cards. Because once you start getting a $10,000, $20,000 credit card in your credit profile, you will see your credit score jump, and you're gonna be shocked. You're like, well, what just happened? Because you're raising your overall available credit. It's lowering your utilization if you are carrying any balances, but it's also going to raise that available credit, which is going to be high impact to your credit profile. And especially if you're someone out there that has like only $250 and $500 credit limits, then all of a sudden a $5,000 or $10,000 credit limit pops up in your credit profile. Yeah, it's gonna be high impact. And once you get those high limit credit cards on your credit profile, now every time you apply for a new credit card or some type of line of credit, they're going to see all of those big limit credit cards on your credit profile, and they're going to also offer you another high limit credit card. I don't know if you remember the My Jewelers days and the Ox Publishing days, where you could like pay them like $200 and buy some janky jewelry, and then they would add that $10,000 line of credit. People would see their credit scores jump over 100 points instantaneously just by getting that $10,000 line of credit to report to their credit profiles. It's the same effect that a credit card would have. That's why it was super high impact. That's why everyone was sad that it just went away, because everyone's credit scores just completely tanked once that went off their credit reports. Now, moving on to number one. Number one is one of the best ways to increase your credit score, because you are doing something that you're already doing, which is going to be reporting your rent. There are more than 100 million Americans across the United States that are renting either a home or an apartment, and they're not getting credit for any of those payments. I believe that anyone, and I mean anyone, should get credit for your rent, your utilities, your cell phone, your cable, all of those normal things that you pay for every day. You should be getting credit for them. It makes no sense why it's not an actual factor of credit, because guess what? They're technically extending you a line of credit, but they're not, because you're renting. So if you don't pay your rent every month, then guess what? You get a late payment, right? But that's not how it works when you report your rent payment. So don't freak out, because a lot of people say, well, if I report my rent and I'm using this service to report it, if I pay it late, will it report late? No. Boom Report is the company that I'm talking about. I've been rocking with Boom Report now for forever. I don't even remember honestly when I started working with them, but I started working with them when they first came out, because they were the only company at the time that reported your previous payment history. So they can report, say for instance, if you've been living at the same place for 3 years now, or possibly 10 years, they can go all the way back to 24 months of previous payment history, as long as you can show that, yeah, I've been living there and I've been paying, and they have different forms that they can prove that. But it's important to understand, remember what we talked about earlier, positive payment history. So if you can inject another 24 months of positive payment history into your credit profile, that is going to be super high impact. And then you can report the upcoming 12 more months. So you're looking at 36 months of on-time payment history that's added to your credit profile within 1 year. That is going to be super high impact and causing your credit score to rise in some way, shape, or form. Now, people are always gonna say, but how much, Mike? How much will it do it? Unfortunately, I don't know, and I can't tell you how much your score is gonna go up, because every credit profile is different. But understand, we are doing everything here that we're supposed to do to squeeze out every single point out of our credit score. Now, Boom Report on their website states that Boom users have seen their scores increase by over 105 points, with an average increase of over 28 points in 2 weeks, because it takes time for it to report, but they're actually pretty quick about it. From what I've seen with my clients that have all used this, the ones that chose to use it at least, but it's also going to report to all 3 credit reporting agencies, which is very important, because you're already doing something that you are already scheduled to do. So why not actually do it? But everyone's like, oh, it's really expensive. It's actually really not though. So if you want to report your previous past 24 months, that's just a one-time $25 fee, and that is it. Now, if you want to report your other payments that are moving forward, that is an additional $3 a month, or you can just pay the 36 bucks for the annual actual membership, and they're gonna report all of your on-time payments moving forward from the moment you sign up. And let's say hypothetically, if you decide to move from an apartment or a house and then move into a new place, guess what? They will continue reporting for you, because they're tracking your payments for your rent already. Now remember, if you are late on your rent, it will not affect your credit profile negatively. Just understand that. That's not how Boom Report works, because a lot of people freak out. They always say, oh, I'm about to be late. They'll literally, like some old clients would be like, I'm about to be late on my rent. You know, am I gonna get a late payment? No. That's the great part about Boom Report. They're not going to report you late. They're just gonna only report positive payment history, and that's it. Now let me break down the different types of rent payments for you that they state on their website. So Boom works with all payment types except for cash, money orders, and cashier's checks, because there's no real way to actually track that. But Boom accepts Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, check, ACH, or property management portals. And then also know that there is no hard inquiry to get into this program and to use Boom Report, or there's no hard inquiry or soft inquiry ever. If you need any of the links that we talked about in this video, link is going to be in the description for Boom Report and for KOVO if you're looking to build up your credit profile and increase your credit score. I hope you enjoyed this video. We covered another big one on how to increase your credit score, and I broke it down to you so you could truly understand how to take control of your credit score. Now make sure that you watch the next video, because it is about how to delete collections from your credit report. Might be helpful for you. Now, if you felt that I brought you some value in this video, make sure that you don't forget and subscribe to increase your credit score.